Hey cactus friends, it's Jenny from Cookies Cacti. So on my last seedling update video, episode 9 of my A Lazy Way to Grow Cactus from Seed, I got a comment from @54Maria saying that she would love to see a seedling repot video. Thank you, Maria, for the suggestion because, let me show you all something. Oh. I don't know what she wants. It is July 2nd, 2023. We are now entered officially into oven season in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm in Chandler. You can see it's about 6:14 p.m. today, and it is 111 degrees outside, which is above, I think, 43 degrees centigrade. Let me show you. This is our 10-day forecast. And, you know, as high as these high temperatures are, the real killer is the low temperatures still being really high. So you can see that the lows are now in the 80s, which is when the cactus that are outdoors really start to suffer, and some of them may go into dormancy because it's so hot that it's really difficult for them to open their stomata and do their chem photosynthesis at night because it's so hot. So this is a really critical moment, but basically for me as a human and for my camera, it's way too hot to do anything outside. It is July 4th long weekend here in the US, and I was thinking about going down to Tucson to Plants for the Southwest, but it was forecasted to be, I think, 111 degrees high that day, and I just don't think it's safe to spend an extended period of time filming outdoors like that, so y'all are stuck with me doing indoor activities for now. So I have all my blinds closed. We're in our dark cave, me and Cookie. So I thought instead I would take Maria's suggestion and do a repotting video of these Copiapoa lembckei var magnifica. These are just past 9 months old. So these are those pots of seedlings that I keep mentioning about how I need to repot them really badly and that I don't have the space, but actually I managed to find some space. So let's go ahead and repot these. And for those of you who have been watching me for a little bit, you know that I am a very low production channel and that I am a mess, and so I will honor that reputation. So the first thing I'm going to do is just get them out of the pot. I'm actually going to lightly water them down first. So the pot was already starting to feel pretty light. It actually is due for a watering, but I like to water it down first. You know, this is before we've done any damage to the roots. You know, they're still in the pot. Kind of water them down, and then I'm going to get them out of here and separate them. I actually learned from Erin at Mesa Garden about using thick rubber gloves when repotting. This has worked out so great. This has completely saved my fingers over the very, very many repots that I have done in the recent past. So I'm going to get this out of here. Here. Really no, there's no scientific way to do this. To really, I'm squeezing this pot. These are black form pots, I think black form square pots that I purchased from Greenhouse Megastore. Let's get the label out of here. So what I will do is I track the dates on my labels when I can, so I have a date on when I sowed these seeds, which was on my birthday last year. I'm going to add the repotting date. July 2nd. So I'm going to kind of loosen, I have these skewers that I talk about all the time. I just bought these from Walmart. They're like barbecue skewers or something. And you can see that this is my standard mix of Miracle-Gro Perlite and Miracle-Gro Seed Starter with heavy emphasis on perlite. So it's a very fluffy, light mix and quite inorganic, so it just kind of falls apart. I know a lot of people don't like peat moss, but if you use a lot of peat moss, yes, when it dries it will become that hard corky stuff. But if you cut it with a lot of perlite, then it won't be like that. It will just fall apart like this. And I do reuse this potting mix. So when I repot my seedlings, I will throw this back into my bucket of fresh potting mix, and I will reuse it. So this was a 3 1/4 inch pot. Cookie is actually down by my feet. She still has kind of like good days and some days where she just seems a bit off, but we're doing the best we can. Look at that root. It's so long. Oh my goodness. And I'm just going to put the individual seedlings into the other tray I have here on my left. I do get some messages here and there from folks asking if I'm selling seedlings. I'm not at the moment, but I will, I think later on in the summer. The thing with selling seedlings, like if you live locally and you want to come pick some up, that's not too difficult, but if there's any amount of shipping that's involved, that takes a lot of work to package up, so I have to budget time for that, and finding time to devote to packing and getting shipping labels and all that stuff, and then going to the post office. That takes some time, and I have to budget it in. Finding extra time can be pretty difficult sometimes. I'm also like inside, like for me personally, I want to get these guys to some size before letting them go as well, before adopting them out. At least that's what I like. That's what I want to do. But it depends on space. Look at that. There's like a little guy on the stuck over here. Worst thing about when they're so close together and squeezing each other out like that is that they poke holes into each other. So I have a lot of seedlings that have like a little spine hole. Look at that. And looks like one of these guys, the spines are falling off. You can see here. I do find some of these to be like their spines, they just fall off. Which all I can hope for is unsightly now, but as the seedling grows up, then you would never know that it happened ever, because it will outgrow it as the seedling gets bigger. Okay, so these are actually not too difficult to separate from each other. The roots aren't really growing into each other. They're not spreading, they're just kind of mostly taproot based, and then a little bit of the fine roots along the taproot. See if I can get this to, okay, well, look at that. The ones that are really difficult is if their roots grow like laterally and they grow into each other. Then you're spending a lot of time trying to separate them. They're intertwined roots. See how these different sizes of seedlings, there's little ones, there's bigger ones, all mixed together. So I tend to repot based off of seedling size. So similar size seedlings I put together. So obviously the smaller ones I can plant more densely in a pot. And the large ones I give a little bit more space. And I'm using gloves right now, actually less so for the spines. These spines aren't that bad, but because the soil is wet and it's not comfortable against my skin and my hands. And I think we're down to our last 4. Ah, more spines falling off. Can you see that? That really bugs me, but there's nothing I can really do about it. So this I will dump back into my soil bucket. There's somewhere around 26 or so, maybe 27 seedlings. They will be sharing pots with each other where they'll get some more space to grow. I hope I don't destroy poor spines. How do I do this? So I have a bucket of soil mix that's already ready, and it's going to look a lot like this old soil. So this is my bucket of soil mix. Same mix as I've used to sow the seeds. Okay, let me show you my soil mix again. Sorry about the lighting. I'm always apologizing about the lighting. This is the same mix that I use for sowing seedlings. It's a Miracle-Gro Perlite and Miracle-Gro seed starter. And this is already, I've wetted it down. So it actually looks more organic when it's wetted down, but if you really look at it, it's very gritty. And I feel like I've been getting heavier and heavier on the grit side over time. So I would say this is probably closer to 3-to-1 perlite to seed starter. My rough guess. I never measure stuff anymore. I just kind of go by the way that it looks. So I always repot my seedlings and my adult plants with moist soil. I learned that from one of Hunter's videos from Cactus Quest, where he interviewed Peter W. And Peter W. says that he always uses moist soil for transplanting, and that makes sense to me. So I've been doing that since I watched that video. Alright, so now what I'm going to do, let's see, how big are these guys? I've been putting the larger seedlings into 2.5-inch pots, and I'll put 4 in per pot. Got my trusty tamper that my dad made me. These are my most commonly used tools when I'm repotting. So the soil tamper, a pen, a marker, these barbecue skewers, and then this thing, which I don't remember what it's called. This I bought with a little gardening kit from Amazon, which I'll put a link to in my description. Very, very useful, this thing. Okay, so I'm going to put 4 seedlings into this 2.5-inch pot. So I'm picking out of my whole tray over here on the left, which you can't see very well, the largest seedlings, and I'm going to put them into these 2.5-inch pots. This is a little awkward because the camera is actually in my way. I'm just not used to doing it like this. Alright, so let me see if I can get this guy in here. And why do I have the pen and the marker? I use them as tampers. So like the marker's a little wider than the pen. The pen can get into tighter spaces to tamp down the soil. Just like that. Not that precise. Next is this one with the really, really long taproot. Okay. So the marker is also a tamper, it's just a little wider than the pen. I don't know, there might be way better ways to do this. I think some people do root trimming, which makes replanting way easier. I don't root trim, I've never tried it before. I don't know, I've never tried it, so I can't say if it's better or worse. I know some people will say that it's better. I don't know. How pretty that is. Oh, the spine. This is a nice size seedling though. So I'm potting these up in groups like this because I'm trying to be efficient about space. I think the next time they outgrow this pot, it will be time to pot them up into individual pots, I believe. So here is one 2.5 inch pot with 4 of my larger seedlings in it. Pretty much just going to repeat that, and then some of the, here, I'll do one with the little guys. Okay, so the little guys, let's see, thinking about putting 9, like this one. You see it's little compared to this. These are actually not horrendously spiny, so I don't need gloves. Look at this one's been squished. Look at that. This is a little bit bigger, but I think it'll be fine in here. And I've got so much smaller seedlings, I'm probably going to put it into a row of 4 here. See like how small that one is. It's pretty though, just little. For something that small, look at the root. Alright, so here's an example of a 3¼ inch pot with smaller seedlings in it that I plant more densely. There's see the difference. And I'm pretty much going to do the same thing with the rest of these. So I'm going to go ahead and pot them all up and then I'll be back. Alright, so I just finished potting up all the seedlings and it's even darker now because it is now past 7 p.m. So I've been doing this for an hour. And my grow lights behind me have turned off. So I made, wrote out some more labels, which I like to use pencil because it can withstand moisture. I've been trying to be better about putting labels in the pots because I'm starting to mess up and lose track of my other pots that I don't put labels in every pot. So I'm trying to be better about it. So let's put the labels in here. I don't know, maybe I'll put it here. Hi, Cookie. Hi, Cookie. So because these were potted in moist soil, the pot's actually kind of heavy to the touch, which means that you're not supposed to water these after repotting. So now they can have less chance of desiccating in that time period, since they're already sitting in moist soil. So they'll be okay and ready to go by the time that I water them, probably in about a week. But I do my usual, I just pick up the pot and feel how heavy it is. So I'm not quite done yet. There's one more step to this, is I need to put my top dressing on, which I'm going to use pumice. So this is literally what I do. Put a layer of pumice. It's enough so I can't see the soil anymore. This pumice helps keep the soil in place when I water. It also keeps the soil from drying out too fast too. So what I have in my indoor space, growing space, is I have fans, like little fans that are running when the grow lights are on. And with how warm and dry it is right now, these pots, they can dry out pretty quickly. So the pumice kind of helps prevent the soil from drying out too fast. I also have some smaller grain pumice that I can use to fill in these small spaces. But you get the idea. So I'm going to do that for the rest of the pots, and then I'll be back. Hey everyone, I'm back. It's actually a week later now. It's July 9th. I actually took a short road trip with my dad into New Mexico. So I've been out of town for a few days. And my mom was here looking after Cookie. I haven't been on vacation where I left the house overnight in a really, really long time. So I just got back yesterday and I wanted to work on editing my video, and I realized that I did not press record on the last segment of my video. So I'm back doing the last part. So these guys have already been sitting under the grow lights for about a week now. Still alive. So let me show you the final repot results. So here's that 3 1/4 inch pot. And here are the larger seedlings in the 2 1/2 inch pot. I just love this species so much. So at this point, I've actually made it through repotting more of the 9-month-old seedlings. I have 3 3 1/4 inch pots left to go, but the 7-month-olds are already needing some help already. So anyone who's growing cactus from seed, I wish you a life of endless repotting in your very near future. So I hope you all enjoyed this video, this repotting, and thanks for spending a day indoors with me doing indoor activities. It is still so horrendously hot outside. It's actually even hotter now than it was a week ago. Thank you all for hanging out with me. Take care. Talk to you next time. Bye.